themselves out of this hole, while Democrats will try to bury them deeper. Well, joining right now is the hardball strategist Tom Davis, is a former Republican congressman from Virginia, and Margie Omero is a Democratic pollster. Tom, thank you for joining us. What did you make of Ted Cruz coming out today and saying the poll wasn't any good?
Well, that's just nonsense, but you have to look at who he was talking to. These people needed something, and you could see from some of the other rhetoric there trying to lift him up. But, Chris, the major problem is 80% of the members of the Republican conference are from districts where Romney was 55% or better. So they see themselves as immune, regardless of what the polls show for their colleagues that are in marginal seats.
Are they more worried about CDs, congressional districts, or more worried about presidential electoral votes? Because that would define which direction they should go here, perhaps.
Yeah, they're always just looking after number one. They're looking at their own CDs.
Margie, that is a concern, because if most parties want to be a presidential party, and I've always had the instinct that the Republicans want the White House much more than the Democrats do. They love executive authority. They like John Wayne hierarchical power. Democrats are happy with sort of a collegial, let's get together and figure things out. The Republicans want to be John Wayne. They want that White House so bad. Commander-in-chief, they want it. And now they're acting like a party that doesn't seem to know how to get it back, because they're focusing on their home states and not the states themselves, the home districts.
Whether you're looking at the national numbers or numbers among Republicans, the story is the same. Even Ted Cruz's poll that he was showing showed more people blame Republicans than the president. And it's not just the NBC poll, Gallup. There was a Greenberg poll out today. They all show the same thing. Last week, there was a poll that showed 60% of Republicans want to see Republicans compromise. Just as many Democrats said they want to see Democrats compromise. So this isn't something that is just happening outside of Republican districts. Across the country, people are dissatisfied and disgusted with what's going on.
Chris,
go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I say one member put it this way. They said in the old days, Gingrich ran the caucus around the members that were in marginal seats, and you'd manage yourself around that because you knew that made you majority. Now the caucus is being managed around those 80% who have absolutely safe seats, and it's putting the marginal members at risk.
Yeah, I think so. The ones around Philadelphia and places like that. Anyway, according to some Democrats, they have a strong weapon for upcoming elections: the person of Ted Cruz. A spokesman for the DNC put it this way, quote, "Diehard Republicans will consider him their best surrogate, and we consider him our best surrogate, too. Wherever he goes now, I think he's a political liability for all Republicans." Is that true? Is he kind of like a bad guy? I'm saying he's exactly like McCarthy, but is he one of those pariah that hurts you as a senator, hurts other senators?
Chris, let me just say, comment. He was in Virginia last week in a governor's race, and Ken Cuccinelli, who earlier in the campaign had said we need more senators like Ted Cruz, wouldn't even get on the stage with him. He left before Cruz was introduced. I think that says it all.
What do you think Cruz said to that? I mean, he shows up for the guy, he travels there, gives him his weekend, but he doesn't want to stand next to him. How does he just say, "I know I'm hated"? How does he, let me go to Margie, how does he absorb that information? People want me to come to their state because of their previous commitment, but when they thought about it, they decided, don't be seen with this guy.
Right. You can't say, well, the poll is wrong if you see a guy running away from you. I mean, that's, you observe that with your own eyes. But I think it's a mistake. And look, obviously, Ted Cruz is becoming more unpopular. Gallup shows that he and an NBC poll, he's become better known. And all of that new notoriety is coming from his unfavorables. To know him is to not like him. And that's obviously a problem. But I don't think this really should just be about Ted Cruz. This is about the Republican Party that has been led by this extreme faction. It's not just one person. If it's just one person, then we wouldn't be seeing this. We wouldn't be in a shutdown, and we wouldn't be seeing these horrible poll numbers.
Let me go back to Tom on this question. Think about this. I get the sense that the Democrats may be a little bit disarmed these days because they have such an obvious villain out there that makes life perhaps too easy for them. They begin to relax. Oh, we got Ted Cruz out there singing the bad song. Everybody's going to come to us. Is there a danger in that complacency and thinking you already got a villain, you don't need a hero?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, the election's a year from now, and you've got to remember that the president's party usually loses seats in a midterm election. Very rarely are there exceptions to that. This will change 100 times over in the next 12 months. Republicans need to recover from this, though. There's no question this has been a setback, and I think we'll see it probably in the elections this November and the by-elections and some other things coming up. But over time, I don't think the Democrats have any reason to feel complacent. Republicans still favored to pick up Senate seats and to take the House.
Margie, what's your advice to a Democrat running for office now? Should you use Ted Cruz as a battering ram, not a battering ram, but as a poster boy for the Republican Party? Is he useful to the Democrats?
He's certainly useful. I would talk about Republicans in Washington more broadly. I would go in the field with a poll right now because it'll be a good time to have a good poll numbers for you to use down the road for fundraising or for recruiting or getting folks on board. And I would also point out another piece from the NBC poll that showed in just a month, just since the last poll, there's been a huge uptick in the number of people who feel the economy is going to get worse. Okay. So this isn't just about Republicans playing politics. People feel that this is going to really hurt the economy.
Big news on that front. I talked to a top Republican today who told me the recruitment is way up among Democrats. They like this season. There are people joining these races for next year right now because they like the climate. They like the looks of things for the first time. Anyway, thank you, Tom Davis. Thank you, Margie Omero.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.